Hi guys, let me be the first to wish you a happy new year, even though it's the third week of January, right? Okay, still happy new year. How's your year been? How's everything with you? This is your favorite tech podcast, Don't Be Afraid podcast, and I'm your host, Jamila Oizam Hamajamu. And to start this year, I have with me tech maestros by my side, guiding me. If you know what I mean. Okay, so I have with me Nonye and I have Jide. Hello.
Hi, Jamila. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you here. How's your year been? How's 2023? Welcome to 2024, the year of no grief for anybody. Officially, the year for no grief for anybody. How's your year been? How's 2023 for you?
2023 for me was with a lot of so many interesting things happening.
I am dying to know.
And I'm excited about 2024. I'm not going to grieve for anybody this
At
year.
all. Yes. Preach. How's it for you, Noye?
So I think it's the same thing. 2023 was a year. I'm just excited to go past it and explore 2024 and go on theme with not grieving for anybody.
Right. As it has been ordained from above by who started the trend.
By social media.
And we shall follow. And it's funny that we should actually talk about trend because that's one of the topics that we're going to be diving into today. But before I go into that, we have this culture of, icebreaker questions that we dish to our audience, to you rather, when you come in. And I don't know if I start by my left or by my right. Wait, who wants to go first?
I'll start with your right.
Okay, by my right. Ladies first. Yeah. Okay, so Nonye, if no, I don't want. We've done this one a lot last year. What's your go-to dance move when no one's watching?
My go-to dance move.
You're gonna have to stand to do that.
So I can't dance. I know it's hard to believe, but I really can't dance.
If you cut this question, I will give you another one.
So I don't know if I have a go-to dance move.
Okay.
But like my go-to dance move is like shoulder dance.
Like you're gonna
Just
have
vibe.
to just vibe.
Exactly. I know it's boring.
There's no goofy dance.
No. Isn't shoulder dance like goofy?
It's not goofy. It's a regular thing when you're like in a club or in a party and you're dancing rich woman dance, just slowly vibing and stuff.
Because I'm trying to be a rich woman.
You're a rich woman already, please.
So
okay.
that's my go-to.
All right, that's interesting. Jide, question for you is, if you could have any historical figure as a mentor, who would it be?
Nelson Mandela.
Why?
So Nelson Mandela won because of what he represents. He was more about the people. He never broke for about 27 years. They tried to get him out of prison a couple of times just for him to conform, but would rather stay back,
true.
so stay true. So it's largely about the people because I'm passionate about giving back and
Back to
service,
the community.
so Nelson Mandela, because it's very difficult for people to be able to stand true to their
what
values
they believe in. Yes.
and what they believe in. It's very difficult.
That's true. That's true. I can totally relate with that. So yeah, so back to before we even go, I want you guys to tell me how your year was 2023. I want to hear, or should I go first?
Yeah, go first.
Okay, all right. So 2023 for me was a difficult year for me. It started out with so much energy. It's a new year. I had my friend with me. We had this goal, certain thing we wanted to do. I had my plans mapped out and everything, and I was just ready to go forth. And I mean, January came, it was smooth. February was when everything just it was going like it was going like this. And then my mom told me that she was traveling, she'll be moving abroad, and I thought she was joking, like just for in my head. And as the days came by, it became real than I had anticipated, and it happened. I got heartbroken last year as well, so everything was just topsy-turvy. And it felt like a very heavy blow. I couldn't find my balance back up to. So yet last year was just, I was just moving with vibes and whatever the year came with. Surprising how I didn't even think at all one bit. I thought I would have. But this year, this I think, and with what happened last year, it kind of shaped this year for me because I now became scared to set a goal for this year. I just knew that something in me last year, in me, inside of me, just clicked that I don't want to be this person 2020. I want to be a new person 2024. So, but I just couldn't set any goal. I had like vision board that I wanted to do. I could not meet up with it. Everywhere you turn to on social media was, you must do this, you must do that. And I'm like, people should calm down. Why are people rushing to? I mean, I don't know. We should start the year strong and all, but it got to me, and I just decided to take my own slowly. So for me, 20 was off, but this year I want to be hopeful. I am hopeful. I'm positive and hopeful that it'll be better than last year. And I'm not gonna let anything shake me. It comes, we shake it. I'm not gonna agree for anybody. Period. So was yours? I mean, it can't be like mine, but was it?
So for me, 2023, lots of fear about this time last year because of the elections,
Yes.
quite a number of people were worried and concerned that we had conversations and just like the country wasn't going to be together anymore and whatnot, and but it ended up being an interesting year. So sorry about your mom. Jackpot. Did she jackpot?
She jackpot.
Wow.
She left you in the
And
country.
she left me.
Wow,
I mean,
I'm
not
so
like
sorry about
I'm not so crazy about moving. If it comes, no problem. But I'm not crazed about
Good
moving.
with or without.
With or without, I'm good with it. But it was just a lot of fear of how like deal with being the mom, how like deal with myself and everything. So it was too much for me to handle at the time. But yeah.
So I understand the pressure as well with everyone online, everyone with a piece of microphone or a mobile phone now seems to think they're an influencer, and then people are following everything that they say. But one of the things that helped me, I did this about 2 years ago. I created a vision board in my home office, and I'd always wanted to do that, but it was always complicated. But one day I just went, I bought this board, notice board kind of stuff, and then I cut out all the things I wanted to do, and then I pasted it in. And then seeing it every day. So I saw it almost every day. And then by October, I realized, oh, shit. Sorry, excuse my French or my language.
No problem, you can...
So I realized that, there's some things that I had not yet done, but what it did for me was a constant reminder of constantly saying. So even if I had not done it, I did not forget that I had not done the things that I wanted to do. 2024, I'm eating the ground running.
Hit the ground running.
Yeah, and I'm not going to grieve for anyone.
Anybody.
Yeah, but I mean, that sums up my 2023. The country did not crumble.
Yeah.
The dollar kept on increasing, and the cost of everything doubling, cost of tickets, traveling, increased. But that was 2023. 2024, like you said, I'm just trying to be more hopeful for better things to
happen.
Yeah.
What about you, Nonye?
Like you said, I think the beginning of the year was a lot of anticipation with the elections in February, right? So I think this was like the first time where like a lot of Nigerian youths were very active, during the election. So we're actually like very much invested in like this election and the outcome of the election. So I think the beginning of the year was a lot of like anticipation and everyone hoping that the country was going to move forward with the next presidency. And then like towards as the year went on, it was just more of, I was on go mode, I think, for 2023. I just kept
going.
I really was. It was work. There was no other, I was just on, I don't know what I was pursuing, but it was a lot of, I think
Money.
it was a lot of.
On a roll.
True.
How was December? How was dirty December?
I didn't date in December.
You not dirty anything.
I know, it's sad.
Hey.
But that has to change anyways.
Why?
I'm an Igbo babe. We went to the village.
That's the more reason why it should be dirty.
No, but like that December is like you're turning up in Lagos,
and then you turn up in the village. You carry Lagos to the village. How would they know that you're Lagos if you not carry Lagos to the village? If there are no clubs, you turn it up in the village.
I'll be village style.
Yeah. God, you fuck
Thanks
up.
for the tip. I'm going to
this
incorporate
year,
that.
please. Did it over
December
you?
anywhere.
Yeah, did it over you?
Sadly, I missed 30 December in Lagos. I was out of town, for
Please don't say work.
Sorry?
Please don't say work.
No. I was out on vacation with the family.
So that's dirty December.
Right.
That's like proper dirty December.
We missed the Lagos 30 December, although we had a chance to hang out with a few folks and where I was, and it felt like we're in Lagos. So I felt a little bit of the vibe,
Was
but
it
I missed.
UK?
No, it was Canada.
I heard Canada is boring. So I'm surprised that you're saying you had Lagos vibe.
So Canada is, if you live in Canada,
Yeah.
it's boring because it's all work,
Yeah.
you know. And but I went as a tourist, you know, and we're going from one location
to
the other, and then we've met tourists from all parts of the world as well. But one of those nights, you know, my friends called me, "Oh, turn up is happening," and we went from at 5:30 in the morning. I was begging like, "Please, guys, you know, can we just leave?" But it felt like I was in Lagos. You know, Burna Boy was playing, Whiskey was playing. You know, you had lots of Jamaicans and Nigerians. You know, so I felt a little bit of Dirty December there, but I missed it in Lagos because in Lagos it was back to back.
Yeah. I didn't go. I mean, I went out, but not as much. I was basically sponsored by my best friend. She took me out to see movies. I saw this Adam Daddy. It was supposed to see a Tribe Called Jide, but we went. It was sold out.
On Kakadeli's movie.
Yeah,
Have you seen it?
I have, but let's do it.
You have?
I have, but not the normal way. I have.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen it?
I haven't.
Oh, I know what you're saying. Oh, no, I shouldn't encourage that.
I know that's why I said let's
okay.
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't soon, but I heard it was really good.
Yeah,
Yes, I've heard good things about it.
It is. It's what's the hype, the marketing strategy, everything from point A to point Z is top notch. So yeah, the movie was good, and I was really happy. So yeah. 2024 is here, and like I said, we talked about trends earlier when we were introducing ourselves, and that's the topic for today's episode. We're talking about tech trends that shaped 2023 and what to look forward to in 2024 this year. And in fact, 2024 is already happening because right as January just clicks, a lot has been happening already. But let's just in retrospect, let's just go back and talk about 2023 and tech trends that have shaped that year, and then we can proceed forward. So, what was that one tech trend that really blew your mind last year?
So for me, I think the number one would be AI has always been a trend, a tech trend for many years.
Yes.
You know, and for a lot of people, the concept of AI has always been abstract. You know, but late 2022, ChatGPT was released, and people really got a hang of it from February, January 2023. I think that's one of the biggest trends from AI, artificial intelligence, and people actually getting a first-hand experience of it, because everyone for the first time could not just, you know, leave it. You know, they could actually interact with AI and get an idea of what's possible. So I would say one of the biggest for me would be AI and the launch of ChatGPT, having people experience what AI actually is. So I would say AI and ChatGPT as a product.
Do you use it?
Oh yes, I use ChatGPT. Yes, I use AI.
How do you use
it? Okay, so
what areas of your life do you apply it?
Okay, so I'll give an example. Just yesterday I was completing a form, right? And they asked me a very complicated question. You know, I said it to my wife. I said, sorry, I don't understand what this thing means, because it was complicated. Oh, if you do this, then, you know, you have to do this. This means in 2 months you have to wait. And she was also confused, right? So I took that phrase, put it in ChatGPT. Please break this down for me. Help me understand it better, you know, simplify it. And then it did just that. That's one example. Sometimes if I have, I'm currently going through, what's it called? A bylaw. There's a bylaw that is about 30-something pages, about, you know, lots of pages basically, and I need to consume that bylaw, right? I need to understand what's inside and what not, you know. So I took it, copied it in a text, dumped it in ChatGPT, and I said, "Oh, summarize this bylaw for me." So those are basic examples of how I use ChatGPT, you know, and that's just one AI. There are other AIs that I use, you know, but that's ChatGPT has been one of the most constant one that I use, and I've had to also embed it in my search. You know, they've got plugins as well. Yes. ChatGPT plugins. At some point, I did a premium version of it. Yeah. You know, but I think they're better now, because when they launched, they were always having crashes. Sites always crash, so I upgraded to premium. So it's in my search. So once I do a search, now, you know, when the result comes out, I have a ChatGPT version of that same result in my Google page. I mean, the application for me is endless. You know, so that's one of the ways that I use it. I remember one time one of my engineers was having an issue with the code, right? We're working on one portal, and there was an error, and I said, why don't you use ChatGPT? And said, how? I said, no, simply take your error, right? Paste it in ChatGPT and let it explain it to you. And he did that, and then he explained what the error was. When he explained the error, I said, okay, let's try this.
Yeah.
Let's tell it to fix it, right? So I told him to paste his original source code because he already told us what the problem was and where it was, and post the original source code. And ChatGPT rewrote that and fixed that problem. And when we deployed the code on the portal, everything was working.
You ever wondered what would have, say, for example, the stuff you sent to your wife and you don't understand? You ever wonder what would have happened if ChatGPT was not there to break it down for you, and it was just like circles and circles of endless? And then I just want to, I don't know, what do you think would have happened if ChatGPT wasn't there?
For me, I think that question is quite early. I would like to answer this question in 2-3 years' time, right? Because what ChatGPT is doing right now is making a lot of people lazy, right? So I'll give you another example. Yes,
No?
So what I mean by that is, I did some calculations recently, and then I wanted to understand some computation. So I just took the table, converted it to CSV. You cannot upload Excel into ChatGPT, but if you have it in CSV, which is basically comma emulated files, you can interpret the data. So I took it, dumped it in there, and I said, oh, okay, this happened and this happened. What percentage was deducted from this? What percentage was deducted from this? And it gives me that calculation. Ordinarily, I would have done that myself. It would take me it would take me longer time, but ultimately I'll end up doing it myself. So for me, I think it makes people. For me, I want to say it's making me lazier. Because it's only helping me do what I would have ordinarily done myself. But I worry about younger generation who would not know how to, because if you take ChatGPT away from some people right now, they may not be able to do some of the things.
Some certain things. But then isn't that what the world is? It's evolving. We can't keep going backward. I don't think we would eventually retrogress. I think we would keep on progressing. So I don't think we'd ever find ourselves in a situation whereby
we wouldn't have
yes, do you get? So was it just ChatGPT for you all through 2023?
No. So we also had the rise of Midjourney. Yeah, Midjourney.
Tell me about Midjourney.
So Midjourney basically is like a creative version of artificial intelligence, right? So it can allow you generate something, and I believe this is also going to create new set of artists, right? What we understand as art is ultimately going to change. Right, so for example, I know a guy that used to be a poet, he likes to write. What that basically means is, and I remember one time, several years ago, he had to called an artist that, he has this poem and he wants him to paint a picture. And I remember him describing what he wanted in the picture. He said he saw a waterfall, so he was commissioning someone to translate what was in his head, and a representation. With Midjourney, right, it could basically, that instruction he had given to an artist, right, it could basically put it in a prompt, and say, okay, I want something with a nice blue sky black background. I want a waterfall. I want to see some swans, birds flying in the sky. I want to have a human being facing the camera or looking straight into or back in the camera. You basically give it that prompt, and it generates that image for you. And it does that. You could say, oh, I want hyper realistic images. There are some images, if you see today, you may not almost be able to tell if it was AI, or if it was generated, if it was actually a real picture. So Midjourney was one of those trends for me, and quite a number of platforms also implemented similar technologies on their platform, like Canva, for example. Canva now also allows you to be able to generate, so it's still AI. Like I said earlier on, AI has always been some sort of abstract concept, but in 2023, there was a lot of application, people could actually say,
real world
application,
Is that the same for you?
Yes, definitely. I think just like you said, AI, and not because AI is like a new concept, but I think for the most part last year, it was a lot of real world application. Like AI was accessible to everyone. Like you said, the concept of AI used to be like, robots, like killing people. But there was also like, like you said, the chat GPT that was like anyone can access it. It's just a link. You can go and check and you can like interact with it like a real human being. And it's been helpful. I think there's that. But as someone who's in cybersecurity, I would also think of, the other end of it.
Yeah.
There's the advancement of AI, and then that means our data is at risk. Right? Just like you said, like you're imputing like personal data.
Yeah.
Your
Let's give us more
workplace.
gist on that.
Yeah. So I think with the, with the rise of AI now, there's also been like the rise of data breaches, because we interact with this like a human being. So we feel safe to share our data with chat GPT. So like you said, you're putting in your codes, you're putting in your AI it learns your behavior, it learns your patterns, it learns who you are. So you're essentially feeding your information to a human in form of a machine that can store and process your information.
Yeah.
So we have to also talk about like in terms of data security, where is it at? So I think with the rise of that from the cybersecurity community, there's also been a rise of data breaches and a rise of like how do we get to protect our data, in the world as it is. I think a major milestone was the implementation of the Data Protection Act last year. So at least for Nigeria, I think we're making strides in that and also ensuring that our data is safe. But I think it's sort of like a race now, like who is going to get to who first. So it's like the rise of AI and also the rise of data security and
yes. I think they would have to both work hand in hand so that one does not outgrow or outshadow the other. So if you're talking tech trends, I feel like we would have to all of this wouldn't be really, or it may not have been this pronounced if COVID did not happen.
True.
Because COVID has like a really, really important play in how we do things currently. I think I feel like it made us grow like a baby that's
at a very rapid rate.
Yes, thank you, exactly. Because how did we move from working in the office, going to the office 5 times or even 6 times a week to writing, and then we now have Google meetings, my Teams and Zoom meetings and stuff like that. So I think you should shed light on that.
Yes. So like you said, with the COVID, what happened during COVID, I think especially for Africa and our world, technologically we advanced at a very, very slow rate. So I think what COVID did was it made us sit up,
amplified it.
Yeah, it really made us
so
think,
much that people now depend so much on AI.
Very much so. We depend like a lot now on AI, because I remember then, like prior to COVID, telling your boss that you want to work from home.
What? What do you mean?
How?
Exactly.
How are we going to have this meeting without your physical presence?
Yes, it's almost like...
So like you committed a crime, essentially,
in
Nigeria. If you're like, oh, I don't want to be able to go to the office every day. I can do the work and I'm still going to be able to deliver, But I mean, with the advancement, they had no choice. Everyone was like, oh, work has to continue. We can't leave our homes. We can't. So everybody became to finding alternatives, to be able to still get, work done. And I think that's like a rising trend as well, where it comes to building resilience in your business.
Yes.
Because the way we approach, like say security or technology is the case of waiting for them to attack before you defend. Yeah. So we're very reactive. But I think after COVID, a lot of businesses realize that we have to be proactive, about our security, about our technology. Let's not just plan for, or when you attack, but plan against the attack as well. Just try and get in front of it essentially, rather than waiting for it to happen.
And then that happened.
Exactly. And then there's meetings oh, how do we move forward?
And everybody's panicking.
Exactly. So these are things you should plan way beforehand. So if at all that happens, you're at least to an extent prepared for it.
Yeah. How dependent are you on AI?
Like I said, I'm an avid user of ChatGPT. Although I haven't used the premium.
Hey, same here. Jide is the only one that has, gone further than that.
Yes. I actually use ChatGPT a lot, like you said. So it really helps to simplify a lot of seemingly complex concepts.
Things.
Yeah. So and it just breaks it down, like you said, and just makes you understand oh, this is what they're talking about, and it's not, And sometimes I use this for example, if I want to send like a message, like an official message, and like, okay, I'll have like a prompt already. I have like a template I'm working with. So I just put it in there to like sort of rewrite it to make it
I'll
more
give it some
formal.
flow.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
But then so that means you use your original idea and then you just
so that's what I do most of
because
the time.
I know a friend that she would say, why would you use AI? I think she's very local. She's a very local person. She comes
Please
from the
don't call her
village.
name.
I'm actually tempted to.
No, don't do that.
It starts
Don't do
from
that.
Z.
Ah,
I'll just
don't do
stop
that.
there like that.
She'll
People
come
can
around
guess.
eventually.
I guess she'll come around. She will.
She will.
So she'll tell you should that. Why would you have to use AI? I mean, use your head. AI doesn't give you. AI does it. And yeah, while I actually reason with that, I also think that you can always have your own original idea, and then because I do it, I write newsletters and content and stuff like that. So once this is how I want this thing to go, I ask it, okay, this thing is not really giving in my head.
Yeah, let's see how can
how we
switch
can
up a
make it,
bit.
and then if I feel like okay, this thing is Bard is overdoing this for me. I try ChatGPT, is overdoing it for me. I just pick what I want and let go of the others.
And
so
I think that's what people feel to understand. Like in the end, it's a tool.
it's a tool.
It's supposed to help
Enhance.
You,
It's
not
like
unlike some people that they are from their A to Z like this. They want to write letters to their friends like this. They will use
to be
it.
honest, I saw someone actually spoke about it. She was like, oh, someone sent her a birthday message and it was so clearly like AI generated.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you would always know.
You can
There's
tell.
some certain terminologies or
Yes.
words that I see. Once I see,
You know that, okay, this is
usher
ChatGPT.
into welcome to.
And then you see some emojis in there.
Yes, and
Yes.
then it just overdoes it in some way that you know that this person.
Yes,
The
true.
truth,
There's like
you
AI
don't-
language
you-
where it's like, this is not
Yes.
your regular vocabulary.
Exactly, especially when you're very poor at writing, then you just why did you do that?
yes.
Why did you do that? God. Anyways, so I mean, speaking of AI, how dependent are you on AI?
So for me, it's technology in general, right? You know, I'm largely dependent on technology. Whatever it is I want to do, I look for a technology that can do that. You know, and because AI now exists, right?
Yeah.
You know, there are newer platforms and technologies that exist. Recently, about at some point, I've worked with designs and stuff, and once in a while, I find myself where I need to maybe quickly do something. You know, so sometimes last year, I downloaded a picture from one of these royalty stock free websites, and then I realized I didn't have Photoshop on my computer anymore, and I wanted to crop the background. You know, I wanted to, crop the background. So traditionally, I would have gone and just downloaded it and then go into Photoshop and start, cropping. But it just dawned on me, no, Google background removal, right? You know, and I Googled background removal, and I found one website, uploaded the image, and then cleared out the background ASAP in less than 1 minute.
That's nice.
So that's an example. I started creating some sort of content last year myself, and
What kind of content?
so sharing stuff, my motivational, inspirational stuff, technology stuff.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm not privy to that information.
no, you should follow me. Check me out. I've been creating some content,
Okay.
and I used to do video editing over 10 years ago. Over 10 years ago, I used to do video editing, with Adobe Premiere and all that stuff, and
Okay.
you needed to be skillful to use
that.
but I came across CapCut last year.
CapCut makes
I love
life
CapCut.
easy,
I
girl.
love it so much.
So if you're coming from a Adobe Premiere world and you
Yeah.
come to CapCut, it's like you have to basically create everything in Premiere. You create
Yeah.
your animation, you create your transition, but coming to CapCut and I create a video now, I can just do audio to convert to text
yes.
and generate
Makes
Everything.
sense.
all the captions for the video. I can select the templates and stuff like that. So that's an example of how I also use technology, AI in particular. So it's tech and AI in my everyday life. I use it, every now and again. I was going to add to some of the key trends that also happened last year and since COVID. One of the things that has also happened was cloud computing, right? And cloud
Yes,
servers.
yes.
So a lot of companies over the last 2-3 years have realized they need to now migrate all their resources to the cloud, because that kind of enhances what people can do when they're working
Yes,
from home. So you
yes.
see organizations that have not transited to full cloud infrastructure are really in the process of doing that. So cloud computing was one of those key trends. Like she mentioned, the NDPC. also came up, right? And is also very, very important. If you notice, if you go through a lot of the websites from last year, you'll see them putting pop-ups on your site telling you to accept that, cookie and stuff like that, so that's those were some of the other key trends. So the cloud computing and cloud migration, I thought to mention that. So, and then digital transformation, right? So one of the things that's also happened since COVID and through the years is digital transformation, right? In between, there's AI, right? But it's digital transformation, meaning that so some conventional roles, for example, I know a company before COVID, you had to physically go to their office to submit certain types of documents. COVID happened, and it felt like nobody could go to the office. Businesses still needed to continue, so they digitized the process, created a portal where people could go in, upload those stuff, created workflows. So there was a lot of digital transformation. People transforming how their businesses used to work before and creating a digital version of that. And in between all of those processes, some way or the other, you'll interact with AI and artificial intelligence. So for me, AI in my videos, in my content, is an assistant. Like you said, it's a tool. Nonye said it's a tool. It's not meant to make you dull or dumb. So it's a tool to enhance, what it is that you do. So you create your content and your prompt, and tell it to help you maybe
do
enhance
it
it.
better and stuff. So I want to just go back a little bit. You said you do inspirational stuff, and so do you mind just putting your social media socials so that we can follow you and get a bit inspired this 2024?
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Hopefully my followers will increase from this platform.
We
I don't take your platform for granted.
We didn't agree.
So I have TikTok, TikTok at Jide Ogunleye. I have Instagram at Jide Ogunleye, Facebook at Jide Ogunleye, LinkedIn at Jide Ogunleye, and my website jideogunleye.com. One of the other platforms that was popular last year and increasingly was TikTok.
Yeah.
So I had to, because even though I feel like his age, right? Because my sister will call me and say, "Oh, I really don't understand. I don't fully understand how that stuff works, but I'm just finding my way around it." So lots of AI in TikTok as well.
Things, yes. So you guys, if you want to be inspired this year, since we're not going for anybody, everything at Jide Ogunleye, take notes. So something happened late last year that really, I think it shook up the tech space, and everyone was just talking about it. It's the Sam Altman saga, where he was from OpenAI, and then Microsoft wanted to. I mean, when you see a hot fish, you wanted to. How did you guys feel when that happened?
So for me, it was some boardroom drama, right? And it was meant to be hush, but it said a lot of things, about the modern workforce that we're in today. Because one of the things that happened right after then was many of the guys that were on his team started, either leaving or threatening
to
leave, and that speaks to the kind of workforce that we have. People don't just work just for money. People work for different value systems.
Yes.
Now, and it was very clear that he's led a great team and he's been able to pass the vision of what he wanted to do. The
reason why they wanted him at Microsoft as well.
Yes, that's why Microsoft was willing to support him.
Sharp guy.
So it was interesting to watch how the development happened. Because I think it started even affecting the shares of the stock price of OpenAI at the time. And they quickly had to do something about it and corrected the statement and stuff. So for me, it was interesting to see the kind of workforce that existed. He spoke to me a lot about the kind of person Altman himself was. He was a guy that clearly his people are inspired. They're inspired by him, and he's probably a good leader.
Yeah. Now, speaking of workforce, it brings us to 2024. When work resumed and I had to start writing my newsletters and stuff, I went to, so there's like the business and brand promotion section. The sites that I checked that I get my news from, and I just saw layoff. 3 at a stretch. Like, okay. I posted. Following day again, layoff. what's his goal? And it's interesting because Google has done lots of layoff. The first, I think they did over, was it 1,000, and then yesterday I saw that they were also laying off some other guys from their video section, that's YouTube. And then Duolingo is also laying off workers from their workforce to lean more toward AI. There's Amazon is also laying off people from Africa, from its African and Middle East section, to focus more on European movies. And it's just is giving I'm not sure of my job. Am I safe?
I think there was Paystack as well.
Yeah, I think
Right?
Paystack did. Some of the fintechs
A couple
did.
of people, yes.
Yeah.
Laid off, yes.
So it just makes me curious because number one, your job is not even certain. AI, I know we all started with, I mean, AI is here, it cannot take my job, or okay, even if you take my job, there's no human feel. But what is if this is happening? And the funny thing is, when things like this happen far away, best believe they'll come home.
Absolutely.
They'll definitely come home. So what do people need to do to secure their job?
So I think what's it called? You need to upskill, and I'll attribute many of it to technology and AI. I had an experience a couple of days ago. I'd ordered something on Amazon. It showed on my phone that it was delivered. I went downstairs to check it out. The guy said no, he doesn't have the parcel. So I called Amazon. I called Amazon, and then some robot picks it. Says. So that happens. It could be interactive voice response, So it picks it and says, "Oh, you need to authenticate, my account, And then it said, so I was expecting it to say, "Oh, press to authenticate, press one, press two, And then it said, "Oh, I didn't hear you." So I said, "Okay, yes, I'd like to authenticate." And then I received a text message, right? I click on the text message, it authenticates me, and it says, "Oh, thank you. I can see you've authenticated. So, are you calling about your last order? I see you had a laptop bag XYZ. I say, "Yes." It says, "Oh, okay. This was delivered." So he told me we're having a conversation. So this was delivered to,
Sorry,
calls.
a robot again?
It's AI.
Yes.
It's AI. So I was interacting with AI. So you have different versions of that. You have the ones that when you're talking with them, you have to go and use a prompt and say, "Okay, for this, press one. For this,
press two.
So this was my interaction, and I found it quite fascinating. And it said, "Oh, am I calling about your last order?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Okay, what's the issue?" I said, "Oh, the order wasn't delivered." He said, "Okay, you understand, like the order wasn't delivered. I didn't receive it." He says, "If it wasn't delivered, then it means that maybe there's an error that I should check again in another 24 hours. I said, "Thank you." He said, "Would there be anything I can help you with?" I said, "No, that's fine for now." Okay, so thanks. That was someone's job. I did not interact with a single
Human, yeah.
Yes, but the next day it was actually resolved. So I'll attribute it to, because if technology is cheaper on the long run, so if technology is able to do that, if you had
Sorry, did you say cheaper?
No, so cheaper on the long run. I'll tell you why it says cheaper on the long run. If you had 50 people, right, in the call center, okay, if you had 50 people in the call center, you're paying the salaries for those 50 people, you're paying the taxes for those 50 people. You have to also pay your pension and insurance. You also have to factor what happens, when, for example, when an employee of Google dies, right? There's certain benefits that he gets, So when I mean cheaper, it's cheaper to lay off all of those people, more than 80% of those people, right? Because someone is able to do it efficiently. Yet I didn't speak to anybody. My issue was resolved, right? So I would attribute it to tech and AI. Because maybe they're having technology being able to handle some of these things. I was driving. I had my first experience with a Tesla just a few weeks ago. And then even though I wasn't willing to go that far to allow it drive me, but every time I went off the lane, off the path, it overtakes, as in it forces itself
back to the lane.
back to the lane. So what that basically means is in the near future, even now it's there, right? You don't have to get a driver or something,
Self-driving cars.
So
I think I saw that on social media last year in US or so.
Yeah, so it's there. So it's technology. I'll attribute it to technology. And one of the things that's also happened, many of these guys have also lost
their job.
monies. No, they've lost money. These companies have lost money.
Yes.
Just spoke about data bridges, and a couple of things. There were lots of security issues last year, particularly with fintechs. I'm not sure if it was Paystack, but there were a few fintechs that also laid off. Many of them lost money, right? Hackers went in there, took monies illegally and stuff like that, and that definitely affected the bottom line for some of these people. Yeah.
So,
and I think to add to that as well, with regards to the laying off that has been happening, it should be looked at from a positive side of view in terms of like, okay, so what are the new opportunities that are being presented to us? Because it's life, technology is always going to move,
yes.
It's going to move. So it's up to you to decide to move along with it or just stay stuck. I remember there was a time people used to sell recharge cards by the road. Like that, you get, so the people that made money from that was like their business. But as things went on, as we had USSDs, we can recharge from our banks now, the job just, that just went away. But the people, I'm sure, had to decide, okay, I would, upskill and, find how to actually fit into this new world, find out how to actually fit. Because with every new technological discovery, there are like 1,000 new skills you can learn. So that's one way to look at it, rather than just waiting for your job to become extinct. Look at how you can upskill and also look at like other things you can contribute to like within your environment. It could be within the same field you're in, or if you want to try to veer off into another field or veer off into another part. I think that's also like as human beings what we should do, because I think in terms of like over there, that's what they do. They always look like, okay, what's the future? How can we contribute to this future? How can we make ourselves become relevant or remain relevant, in the said future, and also sort of like contribute to its growth? So I think that's mindset which also work with. And like you said, there's also been a lot of loss. Not all of them are announced, but there's been a lot of loss financially. There's been a lot of loss, especially like in the tech space. I know there's been a lot of data breaches. There's been a lot of like hacking. There's been a lot of ransomware that's been going on. So it got to a point where I'm sure they couldn't, afford to pay all of those employees. Looking for cheaper alternatives.
Nonye spoke about the fact that for every new technology, right? Lots of skills that could be learned. It will interest you to know that I personally believe that every new technology creates opportunities for newer platforms. And I'll give you an example. Several years ago, when it was just the IBMs, and the Hewlett Packards, the HPs, they had what you called computers, but computers were quite basic, But because computers existed, right, they needed to create what you call operating systems, right? But not a lot of people could create operating systems at the time. A guy called Allen and another guy called Bill Gates, right, had read some books on computing, and they felt like they could create operating systems, and one of the first operating systems that was created was Microsoft, so the technology of computers created opportunities for operating systems, and then later on, Apple and Macintosh came together, and then you have the Mac OS, and then when you had the operating systems, that in itself created opportunities for softwares, so you then had people creating softwares, and then in creating softwares, one of the softwares that was created was a browser, right? And then browsers existed, but beyond browsers existing, one day some guy felt like, oh, there should be a way for me to be able to share a file that someone can see on the other side. And that's how the internet was born. So the internet was born, and then it created another set of opportunities, right? So the internet came, and then you had the likes of Yahoo, you had the likes of Google, you had the likes of Facebook, you had the likes of Amazon, you had the likes of PayPal at the time, and then that created another set of opportunities, and then each one is an improvement on the other. So it is upskilling. I was just trying to touch on Nonye's point. At the end of the day, is upskilling, because at the time, if there were more people that could create operating systems, you probably would have more than Microsoft and Mac OS, right? If there were more people that could build websites in the early days of the internet, you probably have more than Amazon, Google, and all of those platforms. So I feel like what we have now creates a lot of opportunities. So what are the skills that you need to acquire, so like she said, you need to upskill,
as well.
And then maybe 20 years down the line, you could then be the Amazon.
That's the energy. But do you think that any tech trend had like cultural impact on us 2023?
Yes, I do. So the rise of TikTok, right? So one of the things that I've seen as a major impact is people I feel like search behavior is changing, right? You know,
Yes.
generally people prefer to
Search on TikTok.
search on TikTok. You know, I've done it. I know a lot of people that have done it, and
I
I
do
found,
it too.
I do it as well.
I do it.
you know, and then
I
you
just
would
want to
find
get like
You would
5
always find
second
something.
information.
yes,
Yes.
5
I
second
don't want to have
information,
to
and
watch
it's
like a
short.
10 minutes YouTube video.
It's short. You know, you would see a what am I saying? 10 seconds, 60 seconds video that solves a problem
You're looking
for
for.
you. So I feel like the way people search is
It's
primarily it's changing.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, before it used to be just go, and then maybe YouTube. But
And then you go to next, next,
to
next,
next,
and
go to
Like there's like websites and like search through like
yeah, search
you know,
through.
various things.
you know,
Well, I think with TikTok, it just gives you 10 ways you can do blah 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 blah, and you just
And it's so simple and so effective.
yeah.
I use it for a lot of my search because I'm like, I just want to get to the point.
yeah,
I don't want to have to, you know. But do you think that is also reducing our attention span?
span. Actually,
Because-
because we've moved from consuming long form to short form. I mean, you would still see people I think there's some videos that I would like to watch. I don't mind them being long form, but there's sometimes that
But they have to grab your attention.
yes, the
right?
first has to,
In
it
the
has to,
beginning,
yes, it has to be an
yes.
attention grab, and then for others, I just want to next. Just
get to the
tell me,
point.
just get to the
Get to the
point
point, yeah.
already. You know, it's interesting. So, are there any tech trends that you look forward to in 2024? Because actually, for starters is Samsung. Did you go for the event, for the launch, for the
You know, I didn't go for the event, but I've seen a ton of videos
Same
of
here.
what's, you know,
But
what
you
they're
use a
using.
Samsung phone.
Yeah, I
Oh my
know.
god.
I know. I use a Samsung phone. You know. But what they've done this year,
Yes.
if you notice, there is really not much upgrade to the hardware, but more on the software.
On the software and the AI.
It's largely AI.
AI.
You know, so
First AI
so
phone.
more people, more platforms would see how they would introduce AI to whatever it is that they're doing. So, for example, you could just, you know, any picture on your phone or any image on your phone, you could just circle it and
And then rather than screenshots. When I saw that, I was like, this is mind blowing.
Yeah.
one of the key
Mind-blowing.
thing there was that blew my mind was
Yeah.
something called live translates. Right? Did you say the live translate?
I don't think I
So what that
found bit,
basically
yeah.
means is, you know, you could have a phone call with someone in Japan, right? You know, and as the person is speaking is Japanese to you, you are hearing the person in English
No way.
in real time.
Wow.
And then as you're speaking in English, the guy is
Can
hearing
hear
you in Japanese.
No way.
actually
That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
You know,
so cool.
and that's a major game changer for the world in general.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, so it's AI, you know. So for me, 2024 would be how are you using AI? You know, it's about how are you using AI. So for the tech giants, you know, I'm sure they're all looking at, okay, how best they could use AI to sell whatever it is that you're selling or do whatever it is
that they
that they're
want to
doing.
do.
Yeah.
But aside AI, is there anything that you're particularly looking out for that you want to see better tech-wise this year?
So what I think would get better this year would be potentially data, right? Data harmonization, you know, data compliance,
Yes.
right? You know, proud to now, you know, everyone just, you know, create forms and people just collect, you know, people will begin to get more concerned about what happens to their data. Was you that said, you know,
Yeah.
personal data and stuff like that, you know. So what I'm concerned about is data, right? How people, you know, people that collect data. So you have data collectors, you'll have data processors, you know. So you have more people that are, you know, doing data processing. You have people that are doing data auditing, you know, just to ensure, you know, people are compliant with how they use data. For example, data shouldn't stay. So if a company has your data, there should be a retention period of how long they can keep that data. There should be a period when they can remove that, you know, delete that data off their systems, you know. So data. So I'm looking forward to see how, you know, particularly companies in Nigeria and the world will manage data, particularly the ones that have had data with them for over 10, 15 years.
Yes.
For example, your your banks, for example, you know, if you've had a bank account for 15, 20 years, right? It means they have your transaction for 15, 20 years
20
and stuff
years.
like that, you know. So data management and, you know, managing data in general, it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of opportunities there. First and foremost, there'll be a lot of opportunities around every organization will have what you call a data privacy officer,
Yeah.
right? Just like the way you get audited by FRIS and all that stuff, your organizations begin to get audited, to see that you're compliant
With the data,
with data that you have, whether it's third-party data, first-party data, and whatnot. So beyond AI, I'm expecting to see a lot of innovation around how data is also being managed. Yeah.
I think in addition to that as well, so you spoke from the ends of the organization. I think from the ends of like just users of data, I think there should be a lot more awareness to the rights we have as data subjects. I think a lot of that is not really talked about. And I think it's partly intentional. So there should be a lot of awareness of like what rights do we have as the subject of this data. We have rights to erasure. We can choose to call like certain owners of data and say, I want to have my personal data removed from your database, and it shouldn't be an issue. So there should be a lot of awareness, both company-wise, whatever organization you have, there should be a lot of awareness to the rights you have as a data user. So you're aware of, what you're doing, the implication of the data that you're submitting, and also how it is being used. So I think there should be a lot more of that, for 2024.
So, I think for me, before that, I really couldn't help but notice your glasses, and because on one of the sites that I saw better AR and VR, sleeker AR VR devices, and I saw that Ray-Ban was also part of their glasses and stuff. And then on a closer look, it kind of feels like there's a camera in this glass in this eyeglass you're wearing.
So cheese.
Is it one?
Did you see that? Did you see that? I just knew. I had to look like.
Yeah, he actually has camera.
Please, give us a gist. How did you go about this?
Okay, so as a tech enthusiast,
Yes.
I always like to try out technologies just to be sure of what exactly is delivering and what's capable of, So that's one of the reasons why I got this. I wanted to be able to experience it. Google had tried to do this almost 10 years ago with the Google Lens. But sometimes technology is way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the market was ready at that time, but because of where we are right now, I feel like it's functional, right? I've seen some very good use case for this. Do I feel like the AI can be better? I understand that there are a few updates coming to it very soon, and what that basically means is I can look at this image right here, and then it could tell me about this image right there. That's not happening right now. You could help me compute some basic tasks. You could tell me the time. You could tell me the weather. I could talk to it. Sometimes I want to take a picture, but picking my phone, I could just
take your
and I like to take pictures.
And it takes like really good pictures.
Yeah, it takes good pictures.
I sure won't post for another.
Yeah, so it takes good pictures.
Nice. Is there a video function as well?
This is a video right now.
Oh, nice.
So the first one I did was a picture, but now this is.
So how are we gonna get it?
Yeah, I'll show you. So, but the video is only 1 minute long, right? So after 1 minute it stops, and then it goes into your phone, so you have it on your phone. But just like you said, data privacy is also important. If you notice, you'll see the light.
Yeah.
There,
the light
because people have to know that you're recording them, so they've put that light there.
They have to know, and they have to consent.
I feel like they're not.
See,
with this one, I feel like this is. I mean, money aside, I feel like this is really, really needed in Nigeria because these are security people, policemen, and all that. Yeah, they act really crazy, and I don't think that they are privy to this information as much, and they could act anyhow, and you can just secretly. So you don't need that. You don't need their permission. This is your own evidence.
Oh,
so it's needed.
So evidence that's admissible in court.
We kidnapping that is, currently rampant.
Yeah, it's true.
Evidence.
And then it could allow you to go on a live. You could go on a live stream.
No
right?
way.
Yeah, you could stream directly to. So that's not short, right? That's not a 1 minute clip. So you could just stream directly to Instagram, or Facebook. Yeah, So there's a problem. You could just go live ASAP, and everything that is going on, everyone would be seeing it. Yeah, in real time.
Okay. So another thing for me is better interoperability between iPhones and iOS and Android. The long old beef of you want to send this to Android, you want to send this, and then at some point last year I heard that I saw that you could send stuff or chats with
they opened up iMessage or thereabouts.
Yes, and then a few weeks later I saw that the Apple guys cancelled and like no, they didn't want that to happen and stuff like that. So I think another thing for me is better smarter Siri and Google Assistants, because sometimes it's as if they give selective hearing. I don't you ask, you search for something in here. I don't understand. So I think that could be better worked on. And then I think it wouldn't be bad. I'm not much of a gamer, but I think in the gaming world too, I would love to see a lot that can happen there. Like space.
So I think for example, like Siri now, like some of these assistants, I think most of this is a use case, right? So I'm guessing when it wasn't developed, it was the, white people that are being used as, like test subjects.
So they don't understand our accent,
so
Abby.
because I realize sometimes when I ask you something and I now like change up my accent, it now understands. So I think it's the case of,
Well, you have to have an accent.
not necessarily.
Hello, sorry.
So sometimes
Hey, buy me a burger.
you have to trade it sometimes.
Yeah,
so
like
if you launch
pronounce-
it, if it's yours, right, it will tell you to pronounce certain phrases
Yes.
and stuff like that, and it learns the way you speak.
pronounce
So it'll give
things.
you,
Learns the way you speak in how many attempts, because when you launch it, it's like it tell you to speak like maybe 5 or how many
Yeah,
times.
Mhm.
So within that 5 times, it will learn my accent
And I think the
and how
more
I
you
speak.
use it,
The more you
Okay, the more you use it.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
That's machine
The more you
learning.
learn, yes.
All right.
Because I know sometimes I'm like, oh, Siri, set up a meeting. I'm like, oh, I can't hear him, like, meeting.
Selective hearing.
Like, okay.
anyways, I feel like we've come to the end of the conversation already. I'm hopeful, really hopeful. In as much as it scares me, the layoff part did scare me. I cannot wait to see how far we're going to go this year. I'm really, really enthusiastic. I'm really, really positive about it, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. So, you guys, we cannot also wait to hear what you expect from tech this year. You can always leave it in the comment section, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages, DBA_podcast on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, and then follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, and Google Podcasts. Thank you, Nonye, for being here.
Thank you so
Jide.
much.
You
I
can
feel
pose for
like-
the camera again.
I feel like I've made it in life.
You do?
Because
Why?
one of the trends from 2023 was this microphone.
That's true. That's true.
So if you've not had one of
The
this,
money makers.
Yeah,
Cheers.
yeah.
Podcasting.
Cheers. Podcasting.
Cheers to podcasting.
Anyway, we should post for the camera again.
Okay, yeah,
If you
sure.
don't mind.
Yeah.
For your
For
camera.
your camera.
For
Oh,
your,
really?
for your
Okay.
camera.
Okay, no, that's a video. Let me do the picture. Let me do the picture.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah, okay, so. Yeah.
Okay, how do we get a picture?
No,
You send
I'll
it.
send it to you.
You
don't
send it.
So nice.
It would actually be crazy if the image was actually really clear.
Yeah.
No, I would be pumped. I'll be gassed if it was.
worry. No, it's
if
clear. It's clear. I'll show you.
That's nice.
Okay.
I'll show you.
All right, guys. So we've come to the end of this episode. I remember. Oh, I would have said don't grieve for anybody, but police will come and catch me.
That's
Real.
apparently it's banned.
I don't think that should be banned, but that would just would end this way, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.